Greetings, this is Chris Atkinson, Technical Marketing Engineer for Cisco Systems with focus on Intersight. Today we'll be showing the new feature of operating system installation, and we're going to be doing a embedded OS install. So we'll actually be creating a custom ISO that we can feed into Intersight to deliver the operating system to the server. So we'll start by actually making the ISO. So I've just got a Linux desktop here where I've copied the vendor media to the temp directory, and we're going to go ahead and mount the ISO, and we'll copy it off to another folder so we can actually do some modifications against the structure. And then once we're done, we'll wrap it all back up into an ISO. So we've made the copy, and now we have our writable instance. So the first thing we're going to go do is actually edit the ISO Linux config file, and that's where we'll inject the kickstart information. We'll also set the timeout and default the menu to this installer, so we're not waiting for anything to happen. It just immediately does the install. Next, we'll actually create a kickstart file. So I've got just a sample kickstart file that I've created. That I'll just go ahead and paste in here, make a couple of changes to IP address and host name, and then go ahead and save that off. And now I'm just looking to make sure that the label that I have for the volume is correct, and I'm going to go ahead and package it back up into an ISO. So very quick modifications. Obviously, if you were doing a more detailed installation, you could inject drivers, select custom packages, and whatnot. So now we have the ISO built. We'll jump back into Intersight and jump into the software repository. And this time we're going to just select Add Operating System. And I've got the custom install ISO that I've created up on an HTTP share that I'll show here in a second. But essentially, just fill out the details for for what the image is, what the vendor is, version, etc. And then we'll use HTTP to serve up the actual custom ISO. So we'll see the custom CentOS 7 ISO that I created up on this website, on this HTTP share, and we'll just go ahead and paste that in. And that's what will be used to deliver the package down into the Cisco IMC. So once that configuration is complete, we'll jump back over to the Servers tab, and we'll go take a look at our C220 M5 that we have dedicated for this demo, and we'll click in there and we'll click Actions, and we'll see the new operating system installation option called Install Operating System, and it'll launch a wizard here, and we'll just drive through the wizard, verifying the server that we want to do the installation on, as well as selecting the operating system image that we want to use that we just configured. Since this is an embedded install, we're just going to click the Use Embedded, and that really just means that you've got all of the kickstart information, everything that you need as part of the ISO. And so the delivery of the install can really be any operating system that obviously we support from a C-Series perspective. So go ahead and click Install here, and from here it's a completely automated process. We'll bring up the KVM here in a bit so we can see the actual progress of the install. We'll see the initial things that Intersight is doing to first validate the configuration and prepare the operating system installation configuration. Essentially what that's doing is behind the scenes it's attaching to the Cisco Integrated Management Controller, and is pushing the ISO media from, or rather the Cisco IMC is pulling the ISO from the HTTP location per Intersight's instructions. And so once the media is verified and mounted up, we'll switch over to the KVM so we can actually see it boot. But from here, it's completely automated, and the process itself from the embedded part. If you've watched the other video on using the server configuration utility, this one's a little more hands-off in terms of what we can actually see, because it's essentially handing off the intent of the installation to whatever was dictated in the ISO file. So there's nothing that you're doing in Intersight to modify the installation. It's basically just going to run the ISO as is. And so yeah, so here's the actual KVM of the system that I've brought up from a different window. And from here on out, it's a pretty straightforward CentOS install for this particular server. So as this carries out, I've got it running at 25x right now from a speed perspective. But at this point, this installation could be used on several systems. Although I will note that the kickstart that we had modified was specific to a static address. So obviously, if you're making this for a larger environment, you might want to consider using DHCP or create some script to actually create multiple ISOs if you need static addresses. If you haven't already done so, I suggest you check out the server configuration utility based install video as well on this channel. It walks through using Intersight in a more hands-off mode. Thank you so much for watching.